Ladies and gentlemen of the world, what is the most unfair thing a dungeon master has ever done to you? Part 1. I was playing a dwarf paladin of Moradin, Oath of Devotion, with a buddy of mine online. He was playing a high elf paladin, Oath of Protection. We called ourselves the Paladin Pals. Yes, it's a World of Warcraft reference. We played with 3 strangers, a DM, a rogue playing a homebrew race, and a draconic origin sorcerer. The homebrew race this guy was playing was called Obscure Tabaxi or some stupid thing like that. This character's backstory was straight out of an edgelord's mind. I kid you not, it goes something as follows. Macis is a being from an alien race called the Black Sun Empire. Their desire is to take over Faerun and make it their colony. Macis was sent there to scout out the powers of the land. Macis' true desire is to become Blackfus, the face of fear. Yes, he typed Blackfus with all caps every single time in every one of his backstory descriptions. Macis does not eat or sleep. He only opens his mouth when necessary and rarely talks. If that wasn't enough, get a load of his racial traits. He gains resistance to all forms of damage and immunity to slashing, piercing, and bludgeoning damage. Period. No except from magic/silvered weapons. Just period. Now, we were playing in some sort of adventure hub on Discord where you would post looking for players/games, etc. So I joined one on a whim with my friend. The DMs that managed to find players for a game got their own separate chat and voice channel that only the players, the DM, and the moderator/admins of the server could see/join. So Macis posts his homebrew race, and 5 minutes later an admin joins our voice channel and threatens to remove the DM's role if he lets this guy play this race. So the DM obliges, partially. We move into a different Discord server, one set up by the DM. He says it's so we don't get interruptions. But I highly doubt that was the case looking back on it. He probably didn't want any admins punishing him for his favoritism of Macis. So we get into the first encounter, yada 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 blah blah blah. Macis decides to pickpocket my holy symbol. I catch the guy, I warn him. He does it again, I catch him. This time, I'm not warning the guy. I charge my sacred weapon to my greatsword, getting a nice +3 to damage and attack, and I land a critical hit. I roll 4d6 for base weapon damage and get a whopping 18. That's already more than Macis' health. However, 4 damage from my strength, 3 from sacred weapon, and another 2d8 from divine smite. I deal a total of 37 damage overall, more than double his health pool of 16 health. I instantly killed the guy. The player whines about how I'm metagaming and a paladin is always forgiving. I tell him I'm an oath of devotion and explain one of my traits makes me dislike crime, no matter how small, lawful stupid incarnate. In fact, I tell him that he's metagaming because why would he want a rusty iron pendant? There's no reason for him to want such. The DM is silent for a couple of seconds, then says out loud, I'm playing my character fine. I hear him roll some dice. He obviously doesn't look at the result because he almost immediately says something along the lines of, in a black vapor, Macis vanishes. You guys feel a dark presence take hold of your minds, and as you all turn around, the black energy begins to meet in one place, and Macis stands there, unharmed. The call is silent except for Macis, who is saying, thank God. My friend and I message each other, then say out loud, you guys have fun, we think we're done here. Then we leave. We learned later from the sorcerer that the 3 were all friends in real life. The sorcerer also decided to put his foot down and leave, telling his friends that this kind of shit might be okay at their table in real life, but not with random people. TLDR, I instantly killed some guy who was already trying to pull bullshit on us, and the DM said he lived. It became clear that the entire campaign was going to revolve around this one player, so 3 other players left the campaign, and that's exactly what you should do. No bullying, no toxicity, just walk out. Alright, before I get into the story, I have to admit something. My first time playing D&D was in 4th edition. I know, but hey, it got me into the game. And after that, I started playing Pathfinder, yay! Which I continued to play until 5th edition was released. Anyway, the most unfair thing a DM ever did to me, let me play a wizard in the world of Dark Sun. Now, for those of you that don't know, Dark Sun was a campaign setting released for 2nd edition and then re-released for 4th edition. It takes place in a post-apocalyptic desert world that was ravaged by arcane magic. The gods are dead, resources are scarce, and basically, the world is fucked. Reread that for me. Ravaged by arcane magic. Now, normally, if you're going into a new campaign, you can at least give your players a bit of an introduction as to what they'll be facing in your game. I was just told to build a character. So I built a wise old man in his early 60s who'd spent a great deal of time studying the arcane. In a world where everyone hates magic. So my character's entire skill set was practically unusable because if anyone ever saw him use it, we would be killed. What makes it worse is the way my character died. He was seen performing magic, though that is BS in and of itself, because once I found out how magic was received in the world, I made sure to never use magic in public. So in the very next encounter, he gets hit by a trap that makes it impossible for him to move and causes massive damage if I ever cast a spell, which I was forced to do. And he died before even making it to level 2. Now, a lot of this sounds like whining, even to me, but it speaks to something that I want everyone to make sure people, especially potential DMs, understand, and that is, make sure your players know what kind of world they're heading into. Make me fight a level 12 Minotaur chieftain by myself as a level 3 knight. The Minotaur in our party, let's call him M, and I were captured by the tribe because of bad blood between them and M from before I joined the game. I was pretty late to the session that week. The tribe had M duel a champion they had chosen, which was challenging but not impossible, although M did lose and die. Okay. While I was not given any directions beyond the fight to live instruction, that applied to both of us, and the only one to speak to me was the chieftain. Since nobody had stepped forward to specifically challenge me like they did M, I felt I had to challenge the only person I was dealing with. The DM said nothing to indicate any other options at this time. In the first round, I rolled max damage for me, and it did not visibly affect him. The only indication of HP levels in-game was how fucked up they looked. While he rolled minimal damage and took 1/3 of my HP, leaving me looking pretty bad. At this point, I started to put my character sheet away and get out a new one to start rolling a new character, but the DM insisted I fight it out. As was predictable, I was knocked out, example at -3 HP, in the 3rd round of the fight, having barely scratched the chieftain, and then finished off by an axe to the head. After I was dead, the DM said, "Why did you challenge him instead of some random tribe member?" I answered that he railroaded the other guy into dueling the champion for in-game reasons, so the railroading there was appropriate, while the only one to speak to me was the chieftain. I felt that challenging a random Minotaur in the crowd instead of the one that's in front of me / dealing with me would be too cowardly for a knight, and he had never indicated that I had any other options. His defense was that I had never asked. But regardless, being forced to actually fight out that hopeless duel had killed any fun I was having that day. So I left after this instead of creating a new character. I was not happy this character had met such a pointless end because I was just getting attached to it after winning a jousting duel against a centaur bandit 3 levels above me through incredibly lucky rolls the previous session. Edit. I forgot to mention this was 3.5. Also, it was a free-form campaign, no overarching goals besides those we created / chose. Hey, I hope you're still playing D&D out there, because don't let one guy just ruin it for you. I'm kinda still mad about this, even though it happened years ago. We were playing a Gestalt 3.5 game. If you do not know what Gestalt 3.5 is, it's a modification to 3.5 that gives you 2 classes per level. It's intended to balance the game. The idea that you needed 2 classes to have a balanced game is part of the issue. I was playing a paladin/favored soul, and I had prepared the spell Consecrate, because I think it's one of the coolest spells in 3.5, and it really fit with the theme of this character. The DM did not like that I had taken Consecrate. We used to play World of Warcraft together, and Consecrate was a spell that paladins had that created a ground effect that did damage to anything in its area of effect. Consecrate, the D&D spell, was not that spell, and he didn't seem to get that I liked it. So we are adventuring through these islands, and finally we discover that one of the islands is full of cultists who are trying to summon/resurrect Dagon. We get a boat, figure out how to navigate through the treacherous storms and reefs around the island, and finally get to the island. We sneak our way through the town and fight our way into the castle, and finally we get to the room where the ritual is being performed. It is a temple dedicated to Dagon. We have established that Dagon has to be summoned in a temple dedicated to him, and the ritual is underway. We are supposed to have a boss fight, and I guess if we can't disrupt the ritual fast enough, we have to fight whatever is summoned. So I cast Consecrate. What does that do? If the area does contain an altar, shrine, or other permanent fixture of a deity, pantheon, or higher power other than your patron, the Consecrate spell instead curses the area, cutting off its connection with the associated deity or power. This secondary function, if used, does not also grant the bonuses and penalties relating to undead as given above. Consecrate counters and dispels Desecrate. So we've got an altar, shrine, or other permanent fixture of a deity, pantheon, or higher power. Check. Not patron. Check. Does Consecrate cut off the connection to Dagon and cut off the ritual? No. Do I get to make a check? Nope. Does it do anything at all? Nope. I should not have taken Consecrate. I'm still a little upset about this. The spell was kinda designed to deal with this exact situation. I get why it didn't work from a narrative perspective. Canceling the ritual kind of takes the immediate tension out of the encounter, but it makes a lot of folks mad at me, specifically for obstructing it. But I still feel like it was super unfair. I was in a group playing the Adventure League module Xanathar's Wrath at a local comic book store. One of our players was an 8-year-old who had clearly played this module before and proudly announced the solution to every puzzle, location of traps, etc. We were all annoyed by this, especially the DM. Anyway, we get to the end without getting caught and escape through the hatch that leads to a deadly 80-foot fall using slow fall to escape. We're in a hurry to escape because we're led to believe that Xanathar himself is in the room directly above us, and it would be a potentially deadly fight if he finds us. It turns out Xanathar was hovering just outside of view, the escape hatch, waiting to use anti-magic cone to nullify Featherfall and ensure we all fell to our death. 2 of us were only unconscious after the fall, and the rest were dead. So the Beholder casually flies down to the city to finish them off. At this time, the 8-year-old's mom shows up to pick him up, so his unconscious character disappears without properly dying. Otherwise, it was a TPK. First of all, the fact that this faction is in fact led by a Beholder is meant to be a secret. It is very out of character for this NPC to leave his hideout and go into the public just to kill some random adventurers. Also, we did avoid being noticed, so Xanathar had no idea we were ever there, let alone leaving through that exit at the time. Finally, it was very clear that had we gone back upstairs, we would have encountered Xanathar there instead of, meaning the DM did not have a location in mind for the Beholder. He simply chose afterwards the best location he could be to ensure a TPK. Using every power at your disposal to min-max a win makes you a boring player, but doing it as an omnipotent DM removes anything resembling fun from the game for everyone. Hey everyone, Brian here. Happy hello to every single one of our returning followers, fans, subs, and friends. If you liked today's video, then make sure to leave a like, and if you're new here, roll your d20, and if it lands higher than 1, slap that subscribe button home. But if it rolls lower than 1, you're gonna have to subscribe twice, if that's possible. Be sure to ring that bell as well so you can get notifications whenever we go live or upload, and if you want to share your own D&D story or TTRPG story in general, please go ahead and check out r/Mr. Ripper and leave a story in a pre-existing thread or make one of your own for us to check out. You can also do so in the comments below, that's cool too. Alternatively, you can use a help action to follow yours truly, me. I stream and upload content weekly on YouTube and have both a Twitter that you can follow and a Discord you can join. Links for me are all in the description below. I'm Brian Vaughn, VA. Wink, wink. Business talk out of the way. I hope everyone is doing okay today. Let me know in the comments below how your September has been going on overall lately, and honestly, if you need to rant or vent out any stresses and anxiety, please do so. I know school season is coming up for a lot of people, from uni students to college students to, well, grade school students too. So whatever you gotta say it. We're here to listen. It's all good. I also wanted to say something that's from my heart. I see that a lot of you are actually getting into D&D because of the narrations here. And believe me, I'm overjoyed about that. It's making me really emotional. I'm reading comments every day and seeing that a lot of you are so inspired to go out and play it yourselves. And this is the best time to do it. Make some friends online, build connections across the country or the world even. Stay close as a community and just nerd out together because we can. I'm so happy for all of you, and I really hope that the friends that you make through D&D will last a lifetime. Because trust me, nerdy bonds can really seal us together. And y'all deserve to know how awesome you are for all of this. So keep your friends close. Make sure to say hi to your family, and just give a little wave at your neighbors or fellow classmates or even your co-workers today, if you can, just to make sure they know they're still there too. And we will see you next time. Bye for now.